Hi, everyone. It's Thursday. So yesterday we talked about if we were given ordered pairs on a coordinate plane, how could we figure out the distance of the 2 points? How can we figure out where the midpoint is of the 2 points? And so then we furthered our learning and we were given a shape. And the shape, was either a scalene, no sides are the same, isosceles, 2 sides are the same, or perhaps it could have been an equilateral triangle where all 3 sides are the same. So that was practicing the distance and the midpoint formula. Today's lesson is part 2, where we're going to talk about the slopes of 2 lines, which would mean are 2 of the sides perpendicular? And if they're perpendicular, that means they make a right angle, right? So here's some key pieces of information that we've got for this lesson. We remember the slope formula. We subtract the y values divided by subtracting the x values. Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Parallel lines have the same slope. Perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocal slopes. Okay, so those are the basics. We are going to get started on the notes. I will do the same thing that I did yesterday. I'm going to model part A for you, and then I'm going to have you do part B. So you will have to pause the video so that we can see if we got the same values. So part A, here we go. Basic slope equation. This is something from junior high. Here's my x1, y1, x2, y2. So I'm just subtracting y2 minus y1. -7 minus -19 divided by x2 minus x1, -2 minus 1. Okay, well, -7 plus 19 means that I'm going to have positive 12, right? And then -2 minus 1 means I'll have -3. So my slope of these 2 lines, number M, is -4. Okay, I would like you to try part B, so press pause. Go ahead and try it. Okay, part B, did you get a slope of 14? Awesome. Okay, so now we're moving on. Example number 2. Determine whether the graphs of each pair of equations are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. So I'm just looking at the slopes. Parallel lines have the same slope. Perpendicular lines, opposite sign, reciprocal fractions. Neither means there's literally nothing in common. The numbers are not the same. The signs may or may not be the same, but that just means there's no correlation. All right, so starting off on part A, y equals 3/5 x minus 3. So my slope here is 3 over 5. Now, the second equation that I have isn't in slope-intercept form. So I need to do a little bit of work. I need to get y alone. So what do I do with the 5? I hope you said it out loud in your room all by yourself. Divide by 5. Great. Everything divides by 5. My new equation, 5 over 5 becomes just 1y, or y, equals 3/5 x minus 10 over 5, 2. So my slope of the second equation is 3/5. These have the same slope, which means that they are going to be parallel lines. Just look at the slope. Okay? Press pause. Do part B on your own. Okay. My slopes. I've got a -4 and then I've got a positive 1/4. Those are opposite signs and reciprocal fractions. 4 over 1, 1 over 4. So that is going to be perpendicular. And we're good. Last one requires a little bit of work. I'm good with my 5/6, but this is not good. So we're going to change the second equation to y equals mx plus b. Here I'm starting it. Right after the equal sign is my x term. Remember that? Mx plus b. So you don't put 4 and the x together. They're not like terms. You keep them separate. So 5, divide everything by 5. Y equals -1/5 x plus 4/5. All right, my slope then of this is negative 1/5. So I'm looking and I'm deciding, are 5/6 and negative 1/5 the same? Are they opposite reciprocals or are they nothing? Neither. They're neither. Okay, good. All right. What type of parallelogram is RSTU? So right now, I first need to decide if the sides are parallel or not. So I need to find the slopes of SR and TU. So that's good. The slopes of those. Let's do that. Press pause. Okay. So, little typo. I want to know what type of quadrilateral this shape is. Okay. Because if opposite sides are parallel, I'm going to notice that SR and TU were 3. Hope you got that as well. And then I need to find ST, and I need to find RU. Okay, go ahead and do those now. Okay, so this quadrilateral has 2 pairs of parallel lines, and it is, the type of quadrilateral that it is a regular parallelogram. Opposite angles are congruent, and we just know that because if I have the opposite sides are parallel, I can look and I can see that the distance of the sides is similar, which can lead me to saying it is a parallelogram. And it's just a regular parallelogram. Awesome. All right, let's move on to example 4. Slide right on up. Okay, is it a trapezoid? So we need to talk about the characteristics of a trapezoid. A trapezoid is a regular trapezoid, an isosceles trapezoid is going to have 2 sides that are the same distance, okay? It's also going to have 1 pair of parallel lines, which means that the parallel lines need to be right here and right here. Base 1 and base 2, we call it. So I need to find the slopes of AD, and I need to find the slope of BC. Okay, I think that rise over run is the easiest way. So from A to D, do rise over run, get your slope. B to C, do rise over run and get your slope. Go ahead and press pause and work on that on your own. All right, I found that AD had a slope of 1/2, and then BC also had a slope of 1/2. So that means that the 2 sides are parallel. And I can tell visually that it is not an isosceles trapezoid, because isosceles trapezoid would mean that these 2 sides right here need to be equal, and they're not. So this is just a trapezoid, but there's nothing special about it. But 1 pair of parallel lines does describe a trapezoid, so we are good with that. We are good to move on to part B. So part B, kites. All right, a kite. The characteristics of a kite that we need to remember, most importantly, are that I'm going to have 2 pairs of congruent sides. Right? Another characteristic of a kite is that my diagonals are perpendicular. Okay? So that means that I have to do 2 things to figure this out. I need to know whether the length of KL and LM are the same. So I'm going to find KL, the distance, sorry if you can't see, the distance of KL, and I need to find the distance of LM. I also need to find the distance of KJ, and I need to find the distance of MJ. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on this. I'm going to have you press pause, and I'm going to have you work on that, and we're going to see whether this is a regular kite. We also need to talk about the diagonals next. So first things first, the distances of those four sides. So press pause and work on that independently. All right, I found KL had a distance of 3.1. I found that LM had a distance of 3.1. So far, I'm looking good. I've got the top two sides are congruent, and now I'm going to do the bottom two and check on those. So press pause and work on it on your own. I found that the length of KJ and the length of MJ were both 5. So this is just awesome because I've got like half of my characteristics. So far, good. Diagonals are perpendicular. So I'm going to need to find let me zoom out a little bit. Okay, here we go. I need to find the slope of my first diagonal, LJ. I also need to find the slope of KM. I highly recommend, again, that you just do rise over run. Don't make it harder than it needs to be. LJ, rise over run. I'm going to start at J, and I'm going to rise up and run to L. So I'm going to rise up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm going to run -1, -2, -3. Okay? The slope of LJ is -2. KM, I'm going to start at my lower point K, and I'm going to go up to M. K, rise 1, 2, run 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 over 4. 2 over 4 reduces to positive 1/2. Those two slopes are opposite signs, and those two slopes are reciprocals. So I'm going to say that the diagonals are perpendicular. So yes, this is a kite. Good job. Excellent job, guys. Doing well. Okay, so that concludes today, Thursday's lesson. You will see that on Google Classroom, the link is here, that it's another Pearson assignment. And this homework assignment is, again, 4 problems. So you will earn the 2 points for today by completing that assignment. And hope you guys are doing well. I know you're in day 2 of online learning. Again, reach out with any questions you have, any confusions you have, and I will be more than happy to answer those for you. See you tomorrow on Friday.